Hello friends, back with me again, Joseph, your host, and welcome back to Catechism for Kids. Today we're going to explore one of the most loved and beautiful passages in the entire Bible. It's a special song, or a psalm written a long time ago by a king named David. It's called Psalm 23. It starts with the famous words, "The Lord is my shepherd." Have you ever seen a shepherd with their sheep? A shepherd's job is to take care of their flock. They lead them to yummy green grass, find them fresh, clean water, and protect them from any danger. It's a big, important job. Well, in this psalm, King David tells us that God is our shepherd. He takes care of us just like a good shepherd cares for his little lambs. This psalm is full of hope and comfort. It's a wonderful prayer to remember whenever you feel scared, tired, or a little bit lost. It teaches us that with God as our shepherd, we will always have everything we need. He gives us safety, comfort, and so much love, no matter what happens in our lives. So, get ready. We're going to dive into what it really means to have God as our shepherd, how he guides us, and why we can always trust him. When you follow your shepherd, you'll never walk alone, because his love is always leading you home. So, who wrote this amazing psalm? Most people believe it was King David. But before David was a king, he was actually a shepherd boy. He spent his days out in the fields, watching over his family's sheep. He knew exactly what it took to be a good shepherd. He had to be brave to fight off wild animals like lions and bears. He had to be gentle to care for the little lambs. And he had to be wise to find the best places for his sheep to eat and rest. Because David was a shepherd, he understood how much sheep depend on their leader. Sheep aren't the smartest animals. They can get lost easily, and they can't defend themselves very well. They need someone to guide and protect them. When David grew up and thought about God, he realized, hey, I need God just like my sheep needed me. So when he wrote, "The Lord is my shepherd," it came straight from his heart. He knew from experience that trusting God was like being a little lamb in the care of the best shepherd in the universe. This personal connection makes the psalm feel so real and full of love, even thousands of years later. Let's break down the psalm verse by verse to see what it teaches us. It starts with, "The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want." What does "I shall not want" mean? It's a fancy way of saying, I have everything I need. Because God is our shepherd, we can trust that he will provide for us. Think about it. A good shepherd makes sure his sheep have food to eat and water to drink. In the same way, God gives us everything we truly need. He gives us food for our bodies, a family to love us, a home to keep us safe, and friends to play with. He gives us our very life, and we remember that God is in charge. We don't have to worry or feel like we're missing out on something. We can be content and thankful, knowing our loving shepherd is taking care of every little detail. Next, David writes, "He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters." Imagine a big, beautiful field full of soft green grass under a warm, sunny sky. That's a green pasture. It's a place of peace and rest. After a long day of walking, a shepherd leads his sheep to a place like this so they can eat and relax safely. And what about still waters? Well, sheep can be afraid of fast-moving, noisy rivers. Good shepherd finds a calm, quiet little stream or pond where the sheep can drink without being scared. This verse tells us that God brings peace to our hearts. Life can sometimes feel busy, noisy, or even a little scary, just like a rushing river. Maybe you're worried about a test at school, or you had a tough day with a friend. God, our shepherd, leads us to moments of quiet and calm. He helps us rest when we're tired and helps our hearts feel peaceful when we're worried. He's our place of rest. Then the psalm continues. "He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake." He restores my soul means he makes us feel strong and new again. Sometimes sheep get stuck in thorny bushes or wander off the path and get a little scraped up. The shepherd gently frees them and tends to their wounds. In our lives, we sometimes make mistakes, say things we don't mean, or just feel sad and empty inside. God, our shepherd, is always there to help us feel better. He forgives us when we say we're sorry and fills our hearts with his love and joy, making us feel whole again. And what about paths of righteousness? That just means the right paths or the best ways to live. A shepherd knows the safe trails to lead his sheep on, avoiding cliffs or dangerous areas. God does the same for us. Through the teachings of the church, the stories in the Bible, and the advice of our parents and teachers, God shows us the right way to act, how to be kind, honest, and loving. He guides us to make good choices, not just for our own sake, but for His name's sake. This means that when we live a good life, we show the world how wonderful and loving our shepherd is. Now we get to a very famous part of the psalm, one that gives people a lot of courage. It says, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me." Wow, the valley of the shadow of death sounds pretty spooky, doesn't it? This can mean a lot of things. In ancient times, a shepherd might have to lead his flock through a dark, narrow valley where predators could be hiding in the shadows. For us, it could mean a time when we're really sick, when we lose someone we love, or just a time when we feel completely alone and scared. But what does the psalm say? I will fear no evil. Why? For you are with me. That's the most important part. We don't have to be afraid because our shepherd is right there, walking beside us. He never leaves us alone, especially not in the dark and scary moments. And what about the rod and the staff? These were the shepherd's tools. The rod was a heavy club used to fight off wild animals and protect the sheep. The staff was a long stick with a hook on the end, used to gently guide the sheep and pull them back if they started to wander toward danger. So, these tools represent God's protection and His guidance. Knowing that God is protecting us and guiding us brings us great comfort. We can be brave because our powerful and loving shepherd is right by our side. The psalm then changes its picture a little bit. Listen to this. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Instead of a shepherd in a field. Now imagine God as a generous host throwing a big, wonderful party for us. You prepare a table before me means God is giving us a feast, a wonderful meal. And He does this even in the presence of my enemies. This means that even when people are unkind to us, or when things are going wrong around us, God is still blessing us. He's taking care of us and honoring us as His special guests. You anoint my head with oil was a custom back then to show that a guest was very special and welcome. It was like getting the VIP treatment. It's God's way of saying, you are so precious to me. And finally, my cup overflows. This means God doesn't just give us what we need. He gives us more than enough. His love, joy, and blessings are so abundant, they spill over. Our lives are filled with His goodness. This reminds us of the Eucharist, where Jesus gives us the feast of His own body and blood, filling us with grace until our cups run over. We're at the final verse of this beautiful psalm. It's a promise that lasts forever. It says, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." This is the happy ending to the story of the shepherd and his sheep. Goodness and mercy are like two faithful friends or guardian angels that God sends to walk with us every single day of our lives. No matter where we go, God's kindness and His loving forgiveness are always right there with us. And the best part? I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The shepherd's job is to bring all his sheep safely home to the sheepfold at the end of the day. Our shepherd's ultimate goal is to bring us home to be with Him in heaven. His house isn't a temporary place. It's our forever home. This psalm, which starts with God's care for us here on earth, ends with the amazing promise that we will live with Him in perfect happiness and peace for all eternity. So, what does this ancient psalm mean for us today in our busy modern world? It means everything. Life can be loud and confusing. We have school, homework, chores, and sometimes worries that feel really big. Psalm 23 is like a quiet, gentle whisper from God, reminding us to take a deep breath. It tells us we don't have to do everything all by ourselves. We have a shepherd who loves us more than we can imagine. When you feel worried, remember He leads you to still waters, to a place of peace. When you feel sad or you've made a mistake, remember He restores your soul and helps you start over. When you feel scared, remember His rod and His staff are there to protect you, and you never have to walk through the dark valleys alone. And when you feel happy and blessed, remember that it's your shepherd who is making your cup overflow with good things. Psalm 23 is more than just a nice poem. It's a prayer and a promise. You can talk to God using these very words. You can say, "Lord, you are my shepherd today. Please lead me. Please protect me. Help me to trust you." He is always listening. He knows your name. You're His beloved lamb, and His greatest joy is to care for you, to guide you, and to lead you safely home. Thank you so much for joining me today to learn about this incredible psalm. Hope it brings you comfort and peace this week. Don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to St. Joseph's Corner for more adventures into our wonderful faith. Take care, everyone. Stay safe and healthy as usual. See you next time, and may the Lord bless you and keep you always.